The weather pattern is about to dramatically shift, and the change is actually good news for most of the country. A big above-average temperature anomaly is building across the lower 48 as we head from this weekend into the first week of March. There's a winter storm in the pipeline for Sunday through Tuesday, but the trend in the models is clear. The European, the Canadian, and the ensemble data are all showing lesser amounts than what the GFS keeps pushing. The most likely outcome is a minor to moderate event with about a 40 to 50% chance of minor impacts and only about a 20% chance of moderate impacts across the snow and ice zone. The GFS is still showing a foot to 2 foot blockbuster, but nobody else is buying it. And here's the bigger picture that matters. This pattern change is going to bring desperately needed rainfall to the southeast, including Florida, which is battling its worst drought in 25 years and a 25,000-acre wildfire in the Everglades. The precipitation is also going to push into the south-central U.S. and up through the Ohio Valley to help with drought there. Whatever snow does fall early next week will melt quickly behind the warmer temperatures. This is not a pattern that gets worse. This is a pattern that gets better. This is your Thursday forecast for February the 26th, 2026. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. Let me explain the mechanics of why this pattern is shifting because it tells you everything about what's coming. A massive upper-level high pressure is building over the Atlantic and swinging everything clockwise. At the same time, an upper-level low off the west coast is pulling Pacific moisture into the jet stream. That combination is going to swing precipitation from the Pacific Northwest through the south-central U.S. and up toward the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes as we go through the first week of March. The jet stream geometry is on a west-northwest to southeast trajectory, and that's what funnels the moisture across the southeast first, helping Florida and the coastal drought zones this weekend before the storms pivot northward into the heart of the country. The key to understanding the next 10 days is that after the initial round of winter weather Sunday through Tuesday, the high pressure shifts and pushes everything further north. The big warm anomaly takes over. There's no big cold blast coming to the south. The cold stays bottled up along the northern tier in the northeast. The rest of the country enters a sustained warm-up that feels more like early April than early March. The Florida situation is urgent and needs attention. The state is in its worst drought in 25 years. A wildfire in the Everglades has burned over 25,000 acres. Aerial photographs show the scope of the devastation. And tomorrow, Thursday, wind gusts of 15 to 30 miles per hour are expected across the southeast, especially Florida. That wind, combined with the low humidity, is going to intensify the fires even more before the relief arrives. But that relief is coming. By Friday into Saturday and portions of Sunday, the weather pattern swings moisture across the southeast, and southern Georgia into Florida sees rainfall. It's probably around an inch for most areas, but it's a start. Southern Florida needs it desperately. The drought monitor shows the extent of the problem. The east coast from Florida up through the southeast is parched. The south-central U.S. from Texas through Oklahoma and into the Ohio Valley is in drought. Even the Four Corners and the Pacific Northwest have dry spots. The weather pattern that's setting up is going to address the southeastern and south-central drought first with the weekend rainfall, and then as the storms push northward through the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes in early March, it'll help those areas too. This is genuinely beneficial. The Pacific Northwest continues to see moisture coming off the Pacific, with the Cascades picking up mountain snow and the valleys seeing rain. Portland, Seattle, and the coast stay wet. Northern California sees continued precipitation. Sacramento and the Bay Area get more rain. The Sierra Nevada keeps building snowpack. But the desert Southwest and the southern plains remain locked in drought with no significant moisture in sight for the near term. The fire weather risk across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and eastern Colorado persists. Red flag warnings are posted today across parts of Texas and the plains of Colorado. Until the pattern eventually shifts moisture into those areas, the wildfire danger stays high. Now the winter storm. Here's the honest assessment. Saturday morning, a clipper pushes snow from Montana through the Dakotas and across southern Minnesota, southern Wisconsin, and into Michigan. That's straightforward and light. By Sunday evening, the main energy arrives. Snow develops across Iowa, northern Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. A transition zone of freezing rain and ice sets up on the southern side. This pushes into the northeast by Monday and consolidates toward New England by Tuesday evening. The GFS is still the outlier. It's building a strong, low pressure over Missouri and producing a blockbuster snowstorm with 6 inches to over a foot, potentially 2 feet. But the European, the Canadian, and the blend of models are not showing a strong, low pressure. That makes all the difference for intensity. The European shows lesser amounts for the first 6 days, about 2 to 4 inches of snow through the transition zone. The heavier snow on the Euro doesn't show up until that 7 to 8 day mark, when the pattern swings energy around the high pressure and potentially brings more accumulation to the interior Northeast and New England. Even then, the Euro ensembles are not showing a big blockbuster. Out of 50 members, maybe 2 show a significant storm. The majority show a moderate event with snow and some freezing rain transitioning through, followed by warmer temperatures that melt everything. The Canadian model is trending the same direction with lesser snowfall. The national blend of models shows snow coming through, but not a widespread foot. The trend in the data is your friend, and the trend is downward from the GFS blockbuster. Here's the city by city for the winter weather this weekend through early next week, calibrated to the most likely outcome rather than the GFS extreme. The Midwest sees it first. Bismarck and Fargo see snow Saturday. The Twin Cities see snow Saturday into Sunday. Des Moines and Cedar Rapids see accumulation. Omaha sees snow. Kansas City is on the warm side with rain. St. Louis sees rain transitioning to a mix. Chicago sees snow. Sunday night into Monday, probably 2 to 4 inches. Milwaukee sees snow. Indianapolis sees snow with some mixing possible. Fort Wayne sees accumulation. The Ohio Valley is the transition zone. Columbus sees snow, likely 2 to 4 inches. Cincinnati is in the rain to freezing rain to snow transition. Cleveland sees snow. Toledo sees snow. Dayton sees accumulation. Louisville is in the icy mix zone. Pittsburgh sees snow with some mixing. The Appalachian chain from Virginia through West Virginia into Pennsylvania has the highest freezing rain probabilities. The Mid-Atlantic and Northeast see this arriving Monday into Tuesday. Philadelphia sees a chance for 2 to 4 inches, maybe a mix. New York City sees snow, probably a couple of inches, but dependent on the track. Hartford sees accumulation. Providence sees snow. The heavier amounts on the European shift further north and don't arrive until that 7 to 8 day mark. Boston and New England could see a stronger impact in the Tuesday into Wednesday timeframe. Albany and Syracuse see snow. Burlington sees accumulation. Portland, Maine sees snow. The mountains of West Virginia see the heaviest amounts. Here's the critical point. We're going through a warmer scenario. Whatever snow falls overnight could accumulate, but by the morning and the next day, it should melt because we're going to a big warm-up. The temperatures behind this system are above average. This isn't like the blizzard where the snow sat for days under Arctic air. This melts. The temperature picture tells the story. Today and tomorrow see 80s and 90s across the southern plains and the southwest. Southern Texas from south of San Antonio and Austin down to Brownsville sees triple-digit heat. That warmth pushes northward through the end of the week. By Friday, the 50s reach into Wisconsin. Saturday sees a big warm anomaly across most of the country, with freezing temperatures only behind the storm in the northern tier. Sunday and Monday continue the pattern. The warm side is winning. Behind the storm, the cold stays confined to the Great Lakes and Northeast. The South doesn't see another big cold blast. Every ounce of the lower 48 outside of a small portion of Maine is projected to see above-average temperatures in the 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center for March 4th through 10th. Above-average precipitation probabilities extend through the heart of the country. This is the transition to spring. The precipitation helps the drought. The warmth returns. The snow that falls melts quickly, and the severe weather season starts ramping up. By the middle of next week and into the 10-day range, severe weather probabilities start increasing across Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Houston, Dallas-Fort Worth, Shreveport, Little Rock, Jackson, and New Orleans enter the severe weather watch zone. The La Niña to ENSO neutral transition combined with the warming and Gulf moisture is going to fuel the start of tornado season. The Mississippi Valley and the Ohio Valley are going to become the battleground between the last gasps of winter cold and the building spring warmth. That clash is what produces severe weather, and the pattern is setting up for it through the second half of March. For the cities that just went through the historic blizzard, the message is encouraging. Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, and the entire I-95 corridor will see more winter weather. But the pattern is moderating. The massive snowpack from the blizzard will begin to melt as the warmer anomaly takes over. By mid-March, the conversation shifts from snow totals to severe weather potential. But that's a story for next week. Right now, the message is simple. Winter weather is coming, but it's not the blockbuster the GFS wants, and the pattern behind it is genuinely better for most of the country. See you in the next one.